What's up everyone, welcome back to the Durbin compound. So it's a great day to be alive. It's nice and sunny and warm here in Ohio finally. So one thing I wanted to go over today was how I make my stripes in the grass. So everybody asks me all the time, how do you do your stripes? How do you make it happen? How do they always look so good? So today we're going to go over a short snippet on that. One thing I want to put out there before I say anything else is I didn't look at any other videos on lawn striping. This is kind of stuff that I figured out on my own. Never went to a YouTube video, got anybody else's opinion. This is how I do it. This is how I have come to this solution, and you're going to learn it directly from me through experience and not through someone else and me just just conveying it to you. So I think that there's 5 elements that go into a perfectly striped lawn. So I don't necessarily think that mine is perfectly striped at all times. My mower does an okay job, but I think that it could be a lot better. But my grass is taller. I like to cut it taller. So one of the things that goes into it is the length of grass that you're cutting. So as taller as it gets, or as it gets taller, it will be harder to get it to lie down like you want it to. So it's always going to want to spring back. So there's a science and there's an art. And the science is that you're cutting the grass. And the striping, what you're seeing is the grass laying over a certain way. So if you're looking at it from one way and it's shiny, that means the grass is laid away from you and you're looking at the shiny blades of the grass. So just think of it, if you're looking straight on, if it's shiny, it's laying away from you. If it's darker, it's facing towards you and you're looking at the top of the top of the grass. So if you were another person standing on the other side of the lawn and I was here, I would be looking at, the one side that's dark would be shiny to you and the one side that's shiny to me would be dark to you. So that's the science of basically cutting the grass. Then you go into the methods and how you do it. So some people think that you need to do a roller and you have to have a mechanical roller in these $900 to $1,200 pieces of equipment that go on the back of mowers and stuff like that. It's simply not true. You can do it on the cheap real easy. So what I have is a mud flap piece that I put on the back of my mower deck. So I'll roll that in here. All I did was cut about a 4-inch piece of mud flap and secure it to the back of the deck of the mower. So all I did was drill some holes through there and I put a piece of small unistrut or a metal piece strap up against it to hold that mud flap along the bottom there. So I set it a couple inches deeper than where the bottom of the deck lies, and so that will give you that layover that you want. So that's kind of now we're getting into the art of doing it. So you do some mechanical stuff like that where it just lies it over into the grass. Something easy you can do on your own. You can use a piece of rubber. You could use all kinds of things that you want. You could even do a piece of wood, anything that will lie the grass over a little bit more than your mower deck does. So that's the second thing that goes into it is, well, we're talking about mechanical piece here, whether it's a roller. If you want to buy one of the nice rollers, you can do that, or you can do a easy little mud flat piece or piece of wood, whatever you want to do. So there's that mechanical piece there. Another part of it is how fresh your blades are. If your blades are dull, you're gonna get a crappy cut. So that's just the nature of the beast. You should be sharpening your blades if you mow often, twice a year. I sharpen them a lot more often because I like to keep it crisp and really nice. So the taller you go with the grass and the duller your blades get, the less grass you actually cut. So you're gonna get a lot of blades that stick up randomly. It's just not going to look good. It's not going to look as crisp as possible. So think about that blade sharpness. Another one that goes into it is the suction on the deck. So a lot of people, I don't know if this is out on the internet or anything, but the suction of the deck is important. If you have a mower that is wide open and is basically a mulching mower, you're not necessarily going to get that suction that you need to lay that grass over. So it might come up and, if you're using a mulching blade, it might act a little different. So that's something that could come into it. Another thing that goes into it, directly goes into it, is which way you mow it in relation to the sun. So how do I explain this well? If you want to mow it about right on east to west, You can mow it on just off of east to west in 2 different clips. I mow it just off east to west. So as the sun is setting, you want the sun to be on either side of your cut. So think about it like we were talking about the grass line before, between you and me. Either I want the sun to be you or I want the sun to be me. That is where we're going to see those 2 pieces of grass and how they are different. So if I have the sun coming from the left or right in this situation right here, well, we're not going to see any of that that's going, if we're cutting against where the sun is, we're not going to see any of that. The stripe isn't going to be highlighted. So even during high noon when the sun is directly overhead, you are not going to see the stripe as well as you would with mowing east to west. So think about that, where it is in relation to the sun. So depending on where you're at in the country or how your yard is shaped, you want to be just maybe a little bit off axis when it comes to east and west, so that when your sun is setting or the sun is rising, you're seeing those big stripes. So think about that. That's a huge part that plays into it as well. All right, and the last thing that goes into it is consistency. Now, a lot of people, I actually have met a lot of people that say they don't. They don't mow the same way all the time because it'll make ruts in your yard and all this BS. If you mow the same time if you mow the same way every single time, it's really not going to rut up your yard, especially not with a push mower. So anybody that says, "Oh, mow it in different directions all the time," whatever. If you can show me, if you are out there mowing on a dry lawn, you are not going to put ruts in it. Yes, you're going to wear those little spots down where you always go through, but you're not going to wear a rut in there to where it's going to start bucking the mower when you go across the other way. I change my pattern twice a year. So what I'll do is the direct opposite. I will do a 90-degree perpendicular pattern to what I'm doing now. So we're about to go outside we're outside. We're about to go out to the lawn and we're about to show you exactly how I cut. So I will perpendicular that bad boy come mid-season. When it turning into fall, I will go ahead and just mow the other direction. So consistency, staying on top of it right there. Another thing that I wanted to mention is I didn't get a good stripe until I was actually off of where my mower tire sits. So one thing that I was taught when I was growing up was you mow down the yard, you mow as straight as possible, and then you put your tire track in the other tire track and go down the other way with it. So turn around, put your tire track in the tire track, go down with it. That will not stripe your yard. That tire track in the middle where you're touching will not look any different. So regardless of whether you're push mowing or you have a riding lawnmower, you have a zero turn, or you have a tractor, you need to keep the tire tracks side by side. Do not go down the same path. Your deck will overhang, so you kind of want the deck to overhang into the other track. So I'll show you 2 examples of this. So in the front yard, I'm going to show you what it's like to go down absolutely right where you should be going down. It's just a couple inches off of, because your deck does overhang and the rear tires on a zero turn are wider. So I want to make sure that the rear tires, or the path, is as big as the rear tires. If I make it smaller, then when I go down my next row, it'll be shorter, my next row will be wider. Now on the back side of the house, I'm going to show you an example of that where I do it improperly, where I'm not giving that space, and you'll see how one row is bigger, one row is smaller, one row is bigger, one row is smaller. So I'll show you both the correct way and the incorrect way. You can see exactly what I'm talking about there. So stay tuned, we'll go over that. I'll put little excerpts underneath so you can see exactly what I'm doing. We'll listen to some music and play this through kind of quickly, and that's how I stripe my yard, and I think that's the best advice I can give you. Stay safe out there, have fun, make your yard look nice, and we'll see you guys next video.